Hi everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Hope you've had a good weekend and we're ready to start another week.
What's the theme?
Oh, the theme of this week? Well, couldn't possibly tell you that just yet. We'll have to find out. Well, the first thing we need to find out is if you've got anything in your bucket today.
Yeah, of course I have.
Well, sometimes you don't, sometimes you surprise us. But let's have a look. What have you got in your bucket today? Oh, you've been raiding the kitchen?
Yeah.
Let's see, we've got a bottle of olive oil. Well, actually, not very much of a bottle of olive oil. There's not a lot in there, is there?
No.
That's not going to keep us going for very long.
It might do.
What do you mean it might do? There's not very much in there.
Got the Bible story.
Ah, yes, the story in the Bible today is about a lady with a jar of olive oil and what happened to her jar of olive oil. So, Fajita, I'm going to put you down.
Okay.
And we're going to read our story from the Bible. And today, it's in a book called 2 Kings, the second book about the kings of Israel. And this story is about a prophet called Elisha. And it says, one day the widow of a member of the group of prophets came to Elisha and cried out, "My husband who served you is dead, and you know he feared the Lord, but now a creditor," that means someone that they owed money to, "has come threatening to take my 2 sons as slaves." Sounds a bit bad, doesn't it? "What can I do to help you?" Elisha asked. "Tell me, what do you have in the house?" "Nothing at all, except a flask of olive oil," she replied. And Elisha said, "Borrow as many empty jars as you can from your friends and neighbours. Then go into your house with your sons and shut the door behind you. Pour your olive oil from your flask into the jars, setting each one aside when it's filled." Now, imagine, we're going to come back to our story in a minute. There's a lady who's got a little bit of olive oil left. And Elisha the prophet says, go and get as many empty jars as you can and pour the oil into them. Well, imagine I was doing that with this. Wouldn't get very far, would I? But she went. I wonder what all her friends and neighbours thought when she knocked on the door. "Can I have your empty jars, please? Can I have your empty jars, please?" But they gave her their empty jars. They were really generous and they gave her their empty jars. It doesn't say that they said, "No, you can't have mine." And let's see what happens next. So she did as she was told. Her sons kept bringing jars to her. Her friends and neighbours must have been really generous. They kept sending jars. And she filled one after another. Soon, every container was full to the brim. "Bring me another jar," she said to one of her sons. "There aren't any more," he told her. And then the olive oil stopped flowing. When she told the man of God, that's Elisha, what had happened, he said, "Now sell the olive oil and pay your debts, and you and your sons can live on what's left over." So that olive oil kept flowing until there was enough money. That's amazing! It is. Do you know what it's called when something like that happens that's not really explainable?
A miracle.
Yeah, it is. It's called a miracle. And that miracle showed that God was generous to that lady. And because her friends and neighbours were generous, she got to get enough money to be able to pay the debts. So God was generous and her friends and neighbours were generous. That's nice. It is. And we get to be generous. Generous means sharing our good things with other people. I wonder what generous things you can do this week. It doesn't have to be stuff. Maybe you can be generous with your time. Maybe you can be generous with your hugs in your family. You have a think about how you can be generous this week, and we'll come back with another story later in the week.
Yeah, don't forget the song.
Oh yes, there's a song in that box down there. It's by Worship for Everyone again, or from Worship for Everyone by Nick and Becky Drake. It's called Our God's Generous. So do you get what the theme is this week?
Generosity!
It is. It's generosity. We'll see you again later in the week. Bye.
Bye-bye!